Today I'm going to show you some tips and tricks for making Google searches simpler and more effective. Say, for example, you assigned your students a compare-contrast essay over the George Bush and Abraham Lincoln elections. Once your students sit down to start their research, they would probably open Google, as this is a very commonly used search engine and they know it best. So as your students are sitting on the Google homepage thinking of how they're going to begin research for this huge assignment you have given them, they might decide, well, the paper's over the Bush-Lincoln election, so why don't I just search Bush-Lincoln election? Now, as you can see, we have all of these different kinds of titles here from our search results. Election, Lincoln's other mother, things that involve Bush and Lincoln. But really we want to focus our search more on the elections themselves as opposed to the president. So Google has a very neat trick. You can focus your search more by repeating a word 4 or 5 times that you want to focus on. So we're going to type in the word elections about 4 or 5 times, and we can see here we're getting some results that are looking more like what I want, where I want to start my research. Top 10 significant presidential elections, types of presidents and presidential candidates. So this is looking a little bit better. Well, then your students might think, there's other words. There's some synonyms for elections that maybe I could use. So I might type in Bush-Lincoln elections or news. And I'll get some different things here. Now, when you use this OR and you include a synonym in your search, the major disadvantage of doing this is you must know all the words that you're looking for. Well, if you know there are other words for elections, other synonyms, but you're not quite sure what they are, Google has a very neat trick. If you use the tilde symbol and you type in the words you want to search, it will automatically give you results with synonyms for elections. So that tilde is a very easy way to find synonyms of a word so you can make sure that your search is the most effective when you're doing your research for this paper. So say, for example, you decide on one of these websites. We'll just go to the top here. You like the way this website looks based on your Google search. You want to read about your topic. However, this website is very big and there's a lot of information on it. So how can I find the exact topic that I'm looking for? So, which is what brought me to this page in the first place. If you hit Control F, you will see this little word box pop up on your screen and it says Find. And you type the word you're looking for, in this case was news, I believe. Hit Enter. And the page will automatically find and highlight all those words. And if you have more than one word, you have the option to hit Next, 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 and it's just going down the line. So this is a really nice way to save some time when you're looking at all these websites. Say, for example, when you're doing your Google search, you don't just want any type of result. You're not really interested in what the websites have to say. You're more interested in maybe a PDF file that you could download to your computer and save for later. Google has another neat trick where if you type in the word you're looking for, and then you type file type, colon, and then the file type you want, in this case we'll say PDF, and you search for that, you'll see that all of your search results will only be PDF documents. And you can do the same thing if you don't want a PDF, you want a doc instead, which is typically a Word document. All of your results will be Word documents. So that's a way to save some time if you're looking for a specific type of file. Now, when we ask our students to use Google and do a general research over the internet, it can be a little bit scary because if they search directly from Google, Google searches the free and open web, so our students could come across anything, okay, which can be a little intimidating, a little scary. So say that you want your students to use Google Scholar instead. Now, Google Scholar is a very neat tool. Google Scholar only will search for articles or books and other peer-reviewed work, so it's definitely more reliable information than just what you would search on general Google. The web address for Google Scholar is scholar.google.com, and you'll see it looks very similar to our Google page, but we just see Scholar at the bottom that lets us know we're searching on this more reliable way for more reliable search results. You can see they can search for articles or they can search for legal documents. Perhaps they're researching the Constitution or perhaps they're researching specific laws. They could search for legal documents. So Google Scholar is a search engine. When you use it, it's very similar to using the regular Google. One really nice thing about Google Scholar, say we were going to research, we'll do that elections again. One really nice thing about Google Scholar, move my screen over a little, is that you can actually choose the time frame of the results that you want to see. So, for example, if you're searching in the disciplines of science or math or education, the more recent your information, the more effective it will be for your argument. So, say you only want to search from 2013. You'll see your search results are only going to be ones that were written or compiled in the year 2013. Or you can choose a custom range if there's a specific time period that you're looking for. Now you'll notice when you do your search that on the right-hand side here you can see some results that will come up as PDF documents. Now, some of these PDF documents you do need to be a member of a specific educational institution to access some of these. So sometimes you'll go to look at the PDF and it might be a roadblock and you might have to log in or something like that. Now this time it looks like we got lucky. We did. So when we clicked on that PDF, we didn't have to log in and to anything, and it just automatically took us to this nice PDF. And here's the information that we were researching. Now sometimes, if an article doesn't have that PDF symbol, that does not necessarily mean that there isn't a document for it available to the student. Sometimes we just have to dig a little bit to get what we're looking for. So let's click on this link here. And I see this has taken us to a website. Now sometimes the website will ask you to pay to see the PDF, which we would never ask our students to do, but sometimes we get lucky and we get a link to the PDF directly from the website, which this one looks like it's not going to let me because it's asking me to log in. So sometimes it's good to just remind our students that just because Google Scholar doesn't show that there's an available PDF, that doesn't mean that there is not one. And sometimes we just have to dig a little bit to get what we're looking for. Another wonderful feature of Google Scholar is the advanced search. Let's go back to the Google Scholar homepage. So we can click this little down arrow and you see it says advanced Scholar search. So if there's a specific author we might be looking for, or if we already know the article that we want to read about, we know the title of it, we just need the full text, you can type in the title or type in the author or type in dated between. You can do that dated search again. So you can search for a specific thing if you know exactly what you're looking for, but most of the time we'll just do that general search on Google Scholar. So those were just a few tips and tricks to making your Google searching more effective and simpler. There are always new tips and tricks being developed, so make sure you keep up to date on the tips and tricks for Google. They just continue developing. And I hope you enjoy using these in your classrooms and teaching your students how to be effective researchers.